Hi, this is Maciek. I would like to say hello to all of you. Hi, Jędrek. Hi, Masha. Greetings to all of you. Hello. I would like to add my 2 cents. Thanks for the wonderful episodes of the Thinking Out Loud podcast, which I have been listening to since the very beginning. For my part, I can add that I highly recommend listen to other podcasts in English too. Once again, I congratulate you all this approach and say my warmest regards to all of you. Mentals.pl has given me more than 2 cents worth of English language knowledge. I feel like I could give a whole dollar now. Thank you. Thank you very much and see you later. Bye.
Wow. Maciek, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for that. Thanks a lot for your feedback. Thanks a lot for buying us a virtual coffee. I just want to use this opportunity here to encourage you to leave us voiced feedback, just like Maciek did. And if you appreciate the show, if you think it's nice, you can go and buy us a virtual coffee. The link is in the description. It's buymeacoffee.com/told, just like the third participle of the verb tell. And without further ado, let's go. Let's enjoy the show. Hi, and welcome to the Thinking Out Loud podcast. My name is Jędrek.
My name is Masha.
Why are you laughing, Masha?
But that was too loud, like, hi and welcome. You startled me. Poor people.
Okay, I want to wake people up, and people listen at 6 a.m. in the morning. They need some kick in there. Right. So here we are again this week. What are we doing this week, Masha? I mean, who are we? And
every time it looks like you had a terrible hangover, and by Wednesday you still don't remember what we're supposed to be doing. We're recording a podcast, and again, as we always say special episode, but it's when will it stop being special? When we have guests.
Once we exactly. Once we record just you and me. But we have to wait for that because today we have a very special guest. To me, it's a very pleasant surprise because it's a person who I know from Twitter and who knows me from Twitter, but we have never cooperated, never studied together. And in fact, this is the first time we see each other live or we meet live, so it's an additional let's say boon, I'd say,
the power of the internet.
The power of the internet.
Bring people together.
So ladies and gentlemen, here is Asha. Hi, Asha.
So hello everyone, nice to meet you.
Great. Tell us just a little bit about yourself, the minimum necessary to kind of, get to know you. Why are you on the show? Maybe let's start with this,
Okay, so maybe I will start with something different. So I'm based in Poland. I live in Silesia. I am Silesian. Why I wrote to Jędrek, because I love this. I like is better a better word. I like this kind of ideas. I was studying also a language. I was studying French, so this kind of topics related with education, with linguistic is very familiar to me, and I like to participate in this kind of in the similar projects. From time to time, I'm also teaching kids. I'm teaching the kids from the poor families, I could say like that, and maybe that's all at the beginning.
All right, great. I mean, it's fantastic. I
and
think
what do you teach?
You will be surprised because I'm teaching English, but it is on the lower level. Yes, and the kids really they need, I would say, coaching, linguistic coaching more than even than my great experience regarding the language, because they need to be motivated. They are from the families that are a little bit poor, and so this is it.
You know, Jędrek, I
So,
have a
so
feeling that Asha knows about education more than we do. You
No.
see how she see how she put it. They need more this linguistic coaching than, you know, expertise. And this
she
is
may
what we,
know more. Yes, it's true. We'll try and elicit, you know, that knowledge from her. But I just need to ask, what is your story with English? I mean, how long have you been learning this, and what is your daily contact?
Okay, so my story with English is long, but I would say it was always a second language, because I need to say that my first love in languages is French, and but it's not good to know only one language. so I studied the second language, and so English was always in my life, always, and starting from the school. From the high school, and then also I did some little studies of the English, but very little one. And currently I'm using English during my so within my job I'm doing. I'm working in a corporation, so English is a official language. I could say.
Official language.
So,
oh my God! Living in
So
Poland and
so even if I'm writing emails to my Polish colleagues, we are using English. Yes. So
right.
this
Because
is
there's carbon copy, there's always someone who doesn't understand. This is not fair, you know, in the times of Google Translates and all these, you know, tools, you know, everybody should be using their own language. No, I'm kidding. All right, great. So, Asha, we can hear that you are fairly competent, and it promises a great conversation, I think, because, you know, the linguistic obstacles are, I'm not even sure if the level is an obstacle, honestly, in any kind of conversation, but I think the self-confidence that you have, you know, your experience also allows you to, well, also join a show, like, you know, out of nowhere, and come on, you know, and explain something to us, right? So Masha, do you have any question to Asha, like a preliminary question?
maybe what is your formula, you know, for studying? I could say languages, because you speak two.
What was? Could you repeat the question?
What's your formula? You know, what's the best way to study? Would you say to study?
To study. How I'm studying now at the moment, or in the past?
How did you get where you are?
I think the method is simple. Daily talks and daily talks about everything about this. Yes. So of course the grammar is important, but currently even I can see that I'm not using properly the grammar, but when I need to talk with somebody, so I'm forcing myself to speak. Yeah, and also I'm learning myself by listening to others. Yes, so it's nice when I'm able to catch some words maybe. And also my formula was to learn with songs, because I like listening to songs. So I was trying to sing songs, sing simply, and it helped me especially with accent and yes, maybe not the phrases themselves, but accents and
yeah, it's
maybe,
funny, by the way, how people lose their local accent when they start singing, right? I mean, suddenly, you know, a Scottish person who has a very strong Scottish accent sounds like you know, like in English that is, you know, the Queen's English, you know, the royal English.
It's true, yeah. It's
It's
all depends
interesting,
on
you
the
know.
teacher, yeah.
Yeah. All right,
So it
great.
sounds like our formula, listen, 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 and speak, speak, speak. Right?
I'll
The
tell you,
loop,
the
loop.
older, exactly, the loop, the older I get, the simpler I see the whole process. It's like just all you need is input and output. That's two elements, and of course there are some nuances like, what should be the input, what should be the output, but generally the principle is very simple, and this is how progress is made. We'll talk about progress today because we have a question about progress. So why don't I, Masha,
play
the sound, which I'm not even sure I'm allowed to play. Right. So, Masha, get ready. It's time for. Oh, you can't hear it, right? Can
you? For what?
Yeah. I mean, why do I always come unprepared? I don't even have my console connected. Give me just a second, because I'll kill myself if it doesn't work. So why don't you two have small talk?
Have a chat, go girls.
Yeah, okay.
Girls, go
right.
girls. Have a
Okay.
chat.
So what's the weather at your place?
What's happening is actually he likes it to be a proper show, so he has a console that plays different sounds, like round one,
okay.
round two, or applause, like this.
All
right. Is it actually
so
working?
nice.
It is working. Yes, we heard the applause.
So let's go back a few seconds back, and here I am again, So Asha, are you ready for round one?
Yes, I'm ready.
Excellent. So here it is, a question that I like to ask to usually the newcomers, and you are a newcomer, so why not? Let's try. I'd like to know from you which distance is longer, to go from bad to good or from good to excellent.
What a nice question. From bad
it's about
to good,
progress. It's about
good
progress.
to excellent, but I could speak only from my experience. Yes. So
I wonder if your experience could later be like extended into a universal principle. I love when it happens, but let's see. Yeah, of course, your experiences.
I think the distances are similar. My idea, yes, they are long both, but they are similar. But maybe
I've never,
why?
honestly, sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt,
Yes.
but I've never heard that kind of a thesis, that
Usually,
kind of
yes.
answer.
People fall into two camps immediately.
Yeah. People fall into two camps usually. It's either, it's going from bad to good is shorter, or going from good to excellent. But okay, I'm really curious. What is your point of view?
Okay, my point of view is because it took me a long time to go from bad to good. It was really painful. I'm not saying only about English, but even about French. Yes, during my journey with the language, really, I even felt some crisis. Because so for example, after the first year of studies, I've got the good notes at the end. So I went I went abroad. I was so proud of me that I will be able to speak. But then I got I had my first crisis in language because I realized that I'm not able to speak. Yes, I'm not able to speak. So even I would say that that this first phase between bad and good is long and could be painful because this is my feeling. You are not able to formulate all phrases. Yes, even if you are saying 2-3 words, one phrase, you are not able to go into the next. You are not able to deep dive. Yes, for example, the topic. So, or your accent is bad. The people are, for example, sometimes they could refuse to talk with you because you've got wrong accent or something. So, for me, it was also I would say a long journey, and currently I could say that, for example, I am something about around good. Yes, this is my but also at the moment it's quite difficult for me to go to the excellence because
I mean, this is by definition, I think, difficult. I mean, because excellence is generally rare, I think. If it was super common, it means that, well, it's easy to get there. But it's rare to see excellent, not only
Yes. Yeah.
language users,
Yeah.
but, everybody in every
Yes.
discipline.
Yes. Exactly. For example, I heard once. I was once listening. I was in France. I was listening once Krzysztof Zanussi, how he was
Mhm.
speaking French, and I
Mhm.
was so how to say it proud of him.
Impressed.
I was impressed because his level of language was excellent. I would say yes. I was really, it was so amazing that I feel that even I'm able to communicate, I'm not able to present the same level of language. So at that moment I have seen I saw
And
what
that
is
was
the
your second crisis.
that was my feeling. Okay. No more crisis. But yeah, but what was your question, Jędrek? Sorry.
No,
I forgot.
I mean, I know totally the feeling of crisis and everything. I think it's been 6 years since I moved to France,
Mhm,
and I think I have the feeling that my French is actually stuck at a low level, and
mhm,
I'm not doing much about it. Honestly, I mean, I'm surviving the daily life.
mhm,
I'm able to communicate at a basic level, but like you said, after 2 or 3 phrases, I'm usually, either making a terrible mistake or getting stuck. So
mhm.
yeah, I know what you mean. This is a painful thing, but you talk about languages. Would you say it's the same with, I don't know what, mathematics or any other field, that the
Language.
beginnings are
Mhm,
tough and sort of frustrating, and
mhm,
before you get to the level called good.
mhm. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, because I working from time to time with kids, so I could observe how difficult the start is for them. For example, yeah, how it's painful. So and it's not only related to the language, but also to other subjects. I believe starting everything is painful. Yes, because you see more obstacles than than the effects. Yes, you are giving some effort, but the effect is not coming straight away. And you know that today we are used to that the effects should come straight away. Yes,
Hmm.
we are used to, for example, that something should come very quickly. Yeah, so maybe it's also something yes, something that is disturbing at the beginning.
All right, and would you say the same about going on a diet? That is
Oh,
also like difficult to the first, I don't know,
mhm.
the start
Yes,
generally.
yes, I would say this is the same, but even diet is quicker for at least for me, I than language. But all depends. I think all depends really on the conditions, because again, from my experience, what was beneficial from me that I was put in a country without a Polish-speaking person around
Mhm.
me. So it was like,
It was
you
like the
know,
deep end, the jump at the deep end.
yes, it was. Yes, it was
But
like
I must
surviving.
say that the same happened to me,
Mhm,
but and I think it helped me maybe a little bit. But right now, I don't know if it's honestly helping me a lot, because right now I think I would have to put a lot of effort, conscious effort,
mhm,
to improve my level significantly, I think. Because like I
mhm.
said, even though I'm
Well,
living in this French speaking
mhm,
environment and everything, I think I'm just getting by, and
mhm,
I'm okay, I'm good, and I don't feel like I need to push myself to that, let's call it excellent, but I'm not even
mhm, mhm,
thinking of being excellent. But
mhm,
I don't have the motivation. It's like
mhm,
being at the university and getting 3,
Yes.
the grade 3,
mhm,
which in the Polish system, I don't know, Masha, what about
It's probably C.
you? C, yeah, it's like C, exactly.
Mhm.
but it's passing mark, you know, it's the
Yeah.
passing mark.
Okay.
And once you pass, I mean, why should you even try to get 4 or 5 or any higher, like A level grade? Why should you even try? What's the point?
Yes, what's the point? This is the very good, another good question. I think so. Another word that is coming to my mind is support. Yes, that's not only be surrounded by the people who are speaking other language, but a kind of support. Yes, that will, for example, motivate you, or that will say you that, okay, you made a progress. Yes, or something like that, because even small successes, I believe, they are motivating us. Yeah, so I think it's quite also important to see this, yes, that we are progressing, and that we celebrate the small progresses. I think it's also important with kids, yes, to show, okay, today you move this one step more, yes, even if it's little. That's
all right. So it's the feedback basically that is necessary.
feedback.
I mean, you test yourself against you know, some situations, and then you see it's working.
Yeah, so like so somebody is watching how knows your beginning maybe, and knows where you are at the moment, and encourage you.
Masha, your take, because you're sitting here and just, you know, monitoring.
Because you're sitting here. I'm the policewoman.
Yeah,
it's interesting that everybody starts first talking about language, you know, when this question is asked. But if you think about it, yeah, it's a language class, of course, but you don't have to. And I think in language, it's actually a little bit different, because when you're learning a second language, let's imagine a child, you know, a child is born, you know, he doesn't have many, you know, concepts in his head. He doesn't have this, he doesn't feel this, you know, like when you are an adult and you're already quite eloquent, you know, in your mother tongue. And here you are, you're totally, you know, incapable of expressing, and you have a lot of stuff in your head, you know, experience and whatever concepts.
Yeah,
You
this
have a
bears
lot to say.
frustration, you know.
You have a lot to say, but you don't have the language, and you compare your proficiency in a second language with your but for a child who is born, it develops naturally alongside with his, you know, thinking, let's say. So I don't think children feel this frustration, at least when they're learning their first language, you know. But we're constantly comparing ourselves in second language with ourselves in our mother tongue, while when we are learning a different skill, let's say, I don't know, driving, it's everything is new to me. I cannot compare myself as a driver and myself in a previous life as a driver, you know. I used to be, you know.
You're right.
Or, for example, I can ride a bike, but not a bicycle. I mean,
or skiing. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
all the stuff that we learn anew, because learning a foreign language is not exact, especially if you're an adult, is not exactly you don't exactly start from the beginning, you know. I remember once when I was running my school in Warsaw, one guy came to me and he asked, why don't you start from teaching the alphabet, just like, you know, children learn language, you know, from learning, you know, A, B, C, and D. I was like, I didn't know what to say to
and
that.
that's why it feels so artificial, you know, in a language classroom, in a traditional language classroom, when you teach not children but adults, and you teach them, you start with, you know, objects around you, food, colors, clothes. This is not what adult people talk about, you know. This is what they don't really maybe need, even this vocabulary. They want to talk about different things because they are already grown-ups. Their mind is, you know, developed. And
but would that actually, Masha, would that in the context of our conversation, would that mean that the distance from bad to good is actually shorter for kids and longer for adults because it's less painful? Or how I mean, what is your point?
In mother tongue?
No, I mean,
yeah, I'm trying to say that a language is a little bit different from other second language. You see, because when we're learning a second language, we're always comparing our proficiency, because we think, okay, I can think in
Yeah.
I don't know what language we think. Sometimes we don't think in any language, which is, I don't know, it's, oh my God, what am I saying?
Yeah, it's the language of the thought,
Yeah.
it's a separate thing, it's like, because it's not even language, it's just images, you have some
Yes,
images.
and then you have to kind of use either language you're very, very good at, which is your mother tongue, and it comes effortlessly, maybe not to everybody, but and then you have so much to say, but you cannot, and you're comparing, these two states. But when you're learning, I don't know, skiing, driving, you have nothing to compare it with, only yourself today and yourself tomorrow. And like Asha said, you can see these,
It's not exactly I'm sorry, maybe I'm stealing the talking time from someone, but it's not exactly like that, because when you start skiing, for example, and let's say you are 20 whatever 5 or something, like I was when I was starting, I was already like, oh, these little kids, they already ski like pros, and then you look around and you compare yourself to others too. So it's not only, you don't compare your skills to like in languages, like you compare your new language to the mother language, the first language, but when you learn skiing or driving or whatever, you just look around and you see what others are doing, which is totally wrong, of course, but I think we can't help doing it.
So it's also humiliating not being able to drive well.
Yeah, because I'm a grown ass man, 20, being 25, 30, whatever, and I start skiing, and I'm falling down like so it's also humiliating, That's why the beginnings, I would say that I would agree with Asha, that the beginnings are tough from that psychological perspective, not because, if you think about the beginnings are usually easy. I mean, take mathematics, 2 plus 2, or, I mean, there are basics, and basics are by definition easy because they're, am I right? Basics are easy.
2 plus 2 is easy. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I agree.
but are basics easy? Is that always the case? Because some people can say that, for example, building the present simple is basic stuff, but people keep forgetting about this S for the third person singular.
I was also thinking about something maybe besides the progress itself, but like pleasure. Yeah, how pleasure is helping with progressing with the language. Yes, because for example, currently also I'm taking some language lessons, but French language lessons, and I have 2 different teachers. And for example, one one teacher is very, I would say, I like him more than the other. So it's
I hope they're not listening.
Yes, I hope so. But without, yes, they are
just
far
don't
away.
share don't share the links.
Yes, I will not share the links, and I'm not saying which one. So
okay.
But for example, for me, it's a pleasure when I'm able to talk with the other, because I think he's listening more, for example. Yes. So after after one lesson, I'm happy rather.
But is it
than
like
after
but is it like Asha, that you've got like grammar stuff with one of the teachers and the talking stuff with the other? Because that would clearly indicate who's more likable.
Yes. Okay. But in fact, we are doing communication and grammar with both of them.
All right.
Yes. So it's not only because of the grammar, but so I think that atmosphere is also important. Yeah, maybe especially today. I think.
You mean the other person is genuinely interested in what you're saying?
This is one. Yes, this is one point, and also the second person is talking about the subject I am interesting more. Yeah, and so I feel that I have something to say. Yeah, for example, and so it was like Masha, you were saying that adult people don't need maybe to talk about zoo animals. Yes,
Mhm.
yes, to or maybe they do,
Oh, the
but
car. Oh, where is the ball? The ball is under the table.
yes, for example, yeah. So maybe also I think topics is important. Yeah. So
Yeah. So yeah, it's also something that has been on my mind since I basically ever since I came into this business. Let's say
So pleasure
that.
is actually interesting, but this humiliation of a beginner, it's
mhm,
you feel terrible when you are bad at
mhm,
something.
yes.
You can turn it into motivation actually. This
Mhm,
thing can be a powerful motivator. I
mhm,
don't want to be a dumb ass. I want to
mhm,
be good
mhm,
faster.
mhm.
And
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
true.
kind of it's a
Mhm,
double-edged sword,
yeah,
because it's on the one side it motivates, on the other side
crushes
totally,
you. Yeah.
yeah, it crushes you. Yeah, it's true. All right, I would like to ask Asha, what about the second distance? I mean, going from good to
mhm,
excellent. Let's focus our attention there.
mhm,
What's the problem, and why do you think it's of equal
mhm,
length? Meaning that
mhm,
it's again, just when you thought that, okay, I finally reached this good, after this struggle, and there you go, another mountain. um what shouldn't that be actually, like going
Down.
downhill? But yeah, yeah.
I'm also wondering before answering, maybe it depends on language because I remember
Mhm.
that uh, I do not remember in details, but somebody showed me two languages, and for one, the beginning was easier, and the second part was more difficult. And in the second one, the first part was easier, but the excellence was more difficult to be obtained. So maybe
Mhm.
here there is also a kind of
Yeah, I
answer,
heard that. I
but
heard that too. I don't have any personal experience, but I heard that
mhm,
that Asian languages are,
mhm,
well, by definition, difficult at the beginning because
mhm,
there's a new
mhm.
alphabet,
Yes.
like different syntax, totally
Mhm,
different logic.
mhm,
And later, once you master the basics that are
mhm,
hard, it's sort of easier. But
mhm.
but English, for example, is the opposite. Is the
The
example where the,
opposite.
well, how are you, and
Mhm,
the stuff that is considered basic
mhm,
is fairly simple. But
mhm,
then if you really want to be proficient, oh,
mhm.
that's, it's a nightmare.
Yes. So, for example, the what is difficult for me in this second phase, because it's difficult to find a proper source of knowledge, I would say, because even if I'm speaking with my colleagues at work, we've got, I think, quite the same level of language. Yes, no one
Mhm.
is, typical. No one is having this professional high level of language.
Mhm.
This is
Mhm.
something. This is our second topic. Yes, we are not proficient in languages. So. I'm not able to learn from my environment. Yes, so this is one thing.
Mhm.
So it's so to step up on another level, I would need to find a source for that. Yes, so this is requiring some additional effort from my side. Yes, so for example, I
Mhm.
would need to, I don't know, search some pages, or maybe even work with dictionary. Yes, so
Mhm. Mhm.
so mm, so for example, it's requiring additional effort, and I think even the question is if it's really used by the environment where you are using the language. Because okay, I could start to use very sophisticated words, but I'm also wondering if my colleagues will understand me. Yes,
Yeah, it could
if
have
I will
like
be.
the opposite effect. Your communication
Mhm.
actually would become like less effective.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe they will thinking that I am, I don't know, something, yeah, or they will think that I feel better than them, or I would like to show them something. But this is only my supposition. But so maybe if I came to the environment where the people needs this kind of language, yes, and they are really paying attention that I should express more proficiently, then maybe it's a trigger for me to work more on words, yes, because for example, I had also some experience with documents that should be written in a more formal way, yes, and for me it was then I discovered that I'm not speaking my language, my proficient language. I'm not using the proficient, the super level of English. Yes. So, and for the documentation, I really needed to work more. And I was asking my one colleague to check my documents I was writing in English. Yes, because the language was probably it was according to the grammar, but it was not level up. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And also it's a specific probably
Words,
phrases,
yeah.
exactly. So it's not just it's also specific syntax maybe, and stuff like that. All right, great. So definitely the motivation is one huge obstacle between good and excellent, because come on, like if you're good, I mean, why should you be excellent? Why should anybody be excellent at anything? Because good is enough.
It's another great question. Is good is enough, really? Because I need to think about it.
Yeah, but let's think
most
about
people settle for good. Most people.
I think yes, except in the case of like a highly competitive environment. But let's think about yogurts. Let's say we make.
Let's
yogurt.
think about what?
Yogurt.
Yogurt. Like it's a milky.
I didn't see it coming. Yogurts in the middle of a conversation about. Okay.
All right, let's talk about
morning.
dairy
It's morning.
Let's talk about tvarug, and stuff like that. But once you produce something that's okay, that's decent, right? Well, you can just as well stop improving. My product is good.
Yeah, but then you have competitors.
Yeah, exactly. And they may, of course, there's also the pricing and everything, but there is also, I think, this natural tendency to polish or to perfect the skills that we have or the products that we make, right?
Is it natural tendency, or it's dictated by this highly competitive environment?
I mean, if I was making well, let's stick to yogurt or better panna cotta, my favorite dessert. If I was making that, I would definitely, and I don't need any like external motivation for that, but I would aim at perfection for sure.
Because it's your product. Yes, it's also your mark.
Yeah.
I don't know, label. Yes, label.
Yeah, but would I be doing this out of the fear of being outperformed, or would I be doing this just because every craftsman, I think, has this feeling that I need to do what I'm doing in the proper way, and by proper they don't mean good enough, they mean the best I can.
Yes. I remember one example. One colleague of mine is really speaking English at a very, I would say, even beautiful level. But it's
All right.
I think this is the excellence. Yes. And when he starts to speak, everyone is prepared for a great speech, because we know that we will celebrate now something really. But this is his level of language. He was studying also English, and he's maybe I do not know what is his method, but really when he starts to speak English, everyone feel humiliated.
Oh my God!
Really, but really, this, at least this is my perception. But I think that, for example, for some goals, maybe in business with customers, he could really impress the customers. So when the customer is meeting him, he's representing the company, I think he could really impress the customer, because customer will say, I want to follow this man, I want to do the business with him, because we could say, okay, only language, yes, we
Because
are
he sounds
providing some,
competent, because he sounds competent, and
yes,
naturally you trust a person that
exactly, and
has this aura of
yes,
proficiency.
yeah, and he's so open-minded. He knows. So we this is something that we think that he must be so good also at other domains, because he was so great to masterize his English. So 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 maybe.
I think it's a transfer, right? That we make.
Mhm,
It's the same. It's the same when you see a beautiful woman or a handsome man. You
mhm,
naturally tend to think that, oh, she must be perfect at everything,
everything.
cooking and
Mhm,
everything in all domains.
mhm,
But this
mhm,
is the transfer that we make. What,
mhm,
Masha?
mhm.
You don't think beautiful women can cook? Can
No,
cook?
the example you chose is telling. When you see a beautiful woman, you expect she's a good cook. What the
Well,
hell is that?
It's too
no,
much.
but no, but am I expecting too much? No, I'm. Look,
Yeah.
but the point is that there is this psychological mechanism that you
Mhm.
transfer certain
Mhm.
things, and it's called, I think in psychology, it's called the angel effect.
Mhm.
Like, you see a person that looks good, and you naturally transfer that to all the areas, that also those that are invisible, like cooking. So, because you don't know about someone's cooking skills until you
I,
taste.
I sorry, I'm just wondering if it works in opposite way. That's somebody cooks excellently.
It
Yes.
So
yeah, you're right. Does
yeah.
it actually improve your looks? I mean, it's interesting, but
Yeah, imagine
yeah,
you're
it's
in a
I
restaurant
don't
interesting.
and you've just had the best meal, ever, and you want to thank the chef, and the chef comes out and it's like, oops, I never expected this could have been made by a person
It's
like
like,
that, looking
yeah,
like
it's
that.
like voices in
I
radio.
think I think there are many stories when mushroom soup decided about
Peace
someone's
and war.
future. Yeah, yeah, peace and war. Yeah. All right, great. So there we are with this conversation about progress. I'd like to ask you, Asha, one more very abstract question. But I'm really curious about your answer. How do you see the difference between development and progress? And do you think they are
Wow.
kind of equal? That is, development naturally
Mhm,
means
mhm.
progress, or not?
Okay. Okay. Very nice question. So how do I understand? So development for me is an action of doing to develop, to be better. Yes, but thinking about, for example, business. Yes, we could
Mhm.
think about the companies that are, for example, put some money in development, but in fact the progress was they made some progress, but it was not translated into the win, for example, on the market. Yeah, so
Could you illustrate what is a company's development? Do you mean like hiring more
uh,
people, or what?
yes, for example, automating, yes, automating,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
become more digital. Yes, for
Hmm.
example,
Yeah.
yes, so this kind of effort, but
And wait a second, why would you call that development? Like
because
going
for
digital? Because it's
because
modern? Because
development, yes, for example, development is something, yes, something linked with modernity for me, but
Mhm.
I need to think, sorry, because I,
Mhm.
I should avoid the trap that I will put myself on myself. So let me just think, but so maybe going back, so development for me is an action of developing, yes, and depending on the area you would like to develop, it could
W-
be
w-
modernity. Yes, I
and sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt,
yes.
but it's,
Mhm,
of course, it's great to think out
mhm,
loud like this. But by development, I sort of
mhm.
understand adding new elements.
Okay.
You develop. I don't know if this is Masha.
Mhm,
Is am I right? I mean, development means adding something, or
mhm.
actually
I would, my
reducing.
first
No,
reaction
I
is
think it's adding.
hesitation. I'm
Okay, you can let's
Give an
stick to
example.
something that
give an example.
yeah, let's stick to something I'm good at. Developing muscles, you know.
Oh yeah, but
know,
you were born muscular. Why would you need to develop?
Yeah, sure, but you go to the gym and you lift weights and you develop muscles, right? You develop them because they were underdeveloped. I mean, in certain cases, not in my case, but
So development is growth.
I think it's growth. Say that development means why are the
But what about professional development? You add knowledge.
What about the coders that are called developers? They develop what? They add new lines of codes, of code. So basically, they are called developers. They develop stuff.
Professional development.
It means like learning new language. It's development.
And forgetting another that it's not useful. For example,
forgetting Latin. Yeah.
Develop. Become better is not what comes to mind.
But then I'd like Asha to kind of confront this with progress. I mean, do you think that development means progress? Can we put the equal sign?
I think loud. So thinking loudly.
Think out loud. Yeah, think out loud.
Think out loudly. So I think in majority of cases, it could be, yes, but I could imagine the situation that, for example, we are developing a tool, and this tool should bring us a progress, yes, but for some reasons, the tool will not bring us the progress because, for example, the environment changed and it is not more required by people, yes. For example, yes, so we developed ourselves, we put effort to do it, but the effect is not bringing us a progress. For example, I would like to earn more money. Yes, for example, I don't know. Yeah, and I put a lot of effort with regarding the training. You were mentioning personal development. Yes, so in the companies, I think it's quite important to gain new knowledge, new certificates, etc. But it didn't bring the progress, for example, in my salary. Yeah. It didn't, but only in my eyes. For example, I am proud of myself. So,
and then in that case, it is a great example, but in that case, we cannot really call it progress because you invested a lot of time and effort, perhaps also private money into training, but it didn't manifest itself in your salary. I mean, it didn't translate on your
so
your
it
salary.
Depends how you define progress then. Because from your own perspective, you definitely progressed. You've learned another language, you've done a course on something.
We have this collocation, Masha, personal development. It's beautiful, but we don't really talk about personal progress. I mean, it's rare. We talk about personal development, but personal progress, I mean,
and when like you go into the gym, which you don't have to do to develop muscles, you progress?
You just develop. I mean, it's a progress when, oh my God, what is the progress actually in this case?
Then 6 months later, when your wife will see you shirtless,
I'll tell you,
say, oh, you made some progress.
Yeah, I think, that's great. That's great. You're right. And also, I think, you talk about impressing women, but if you are somehow healthier because of that, let's say you lost weight or your posture is like, I don't know, more correct. So in that case, it's progress because, the development that clearly happened, I mean, the muscles and so on, translated into progress in health. I think progress has some moral.
Developing muscles doesn't always mean that you become healthier,
Not if you eat steroids and all this stuff, but if I mean, sport, is sport actually what, bad? It's good.
No, depends.
I'd say
Um,
I would agree with
oh,
Asha, that sometimes you develop it's the same, it's the story of Asha of atomic bomb, right?
Mhm.
It was a development of science to to develop this technology but an atomic bomb was not a progress in itself, I think.
Yeah,
it was
so
not a progress for humanity, right? But progress in science anyway.
It is a progress in science in certain way. I mean, so you say, Masha, that progress is blind. It could simply it means going forward, not going in the right direction, but going forward.
No, progress is you need to define what progress is, that's it. But development is kind of universal for everybody. Everybody will agree that a person has developed if they've gained new knowledge or but
Learn new
even
vocab.
if it didn't bring them a pay rise, whether it's I mean, some people will see it as a failure, but depends on how you define progress. Because progress in the end, it's what? It's achieving your goal. So what was your goal to begin with? No? Progress is achieving goals? No?
I don't know. I would like to link progress with this kind of moral aspect, that progress is only good. Is this like, being wise? You cannot be an evil person and wise at the same time. Because if you're evil, you're not wise. You're stupid.
And
so
maybe
Darth
even
Vader getting this beautiful body, new helmet, you wouldn't call this progress?
If it's good, it's progress. But good for what? For attracting.
So it's an effect, in fact, yes, effect. What would you do with the effect? Because also I'm thinking about progress like in a mathematical way. So for example, progress is a move from point A to point B, yes? And the progress could be small, big, etc. So every move is a progress, but what we do with that, it's afterwards, it's depending, yes, on many conditions. But every move, every change is a progress. But what is the opposite of the word progress? It's
Regress.
Regress. Okay, so it's always something 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 that is just just I forgot the word. Yes, this is my
we
English.
just need to find an example of a development which is a regress in the end.
What's the opposite of development, Masha? Because the opposite of progress is regress, and the opposite of development is what?
Opposite of development?
Yeah.
Stagnation.
Stagnation, maybe. Yeah, it's lack of development.
Lack of development.
Or no, actually, because it's or even more, because lack of I mean, some people say that lack of development is regress, because if you don't develop, you regress. For example, if you
but maybe you're just fine where you are. Stability.
Yeah, but some people say that if you stay in a company at the same position for like 20 years, it's actually a regress, because because like it's a waste of whatever, your potential or something.
50 years ago, it was considered a stroke of luck,
Yeah.
You've landed the dream job, you don't have to look any further,
Great. I don't know actually if we have time for developing this conversation. We have to wrap up somehow somewhere here. So why don't we leave our listeners with the questions of progress, regress, development, and its opposite? And why don't we put a full stop somewhere here, even though the conclusions haven't been reach.
Maybe somebody
as
will
always.
finally comment,
Great. Yeah, I'm leaving this exactly, guys. There's on Spotify especially. I'm leaving always a poll and an open question. So why don't you go and comment there? Maybe be the first to do that. Asha, I don't know how to express my thanks. I will just say the good old thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, it was a pleasure also for me. It was very fast 1 hour. It was like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know, where did it go? Where did it go? All right.
English is nice. I can speak English.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I hope it wasn't like any
It was
traumatic...
like progress for me.
It's actually progress. Yeah, this is how progress is born.
Development. Yes.
Yes, both at the same time. Masha, it's over to you.
It's over to me. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Asha. Thank you, our listeners, for staying with us. I don't know if anybody's staying with us, and this was another episode of the Thinking Out Loud podcast. Stay tuned for the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.